This presentation is going to be recorded.
I won't say anything too crazy. No.
Count on it.
All right. And in terms of sharing, let's give that a go.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. I just pulled it up. Let me share my screen.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay.
You'll see that?
You can. I can't see it, but I think it's because I'm sharing. Can other folks see the presentation?
Yes, I can see it on my end. So.
Yep.
All right. Perfect. And then just want to test this out here how I move down the presentation. Okay. Got it.
Perfect.
Let me go back.
All right. So you can actually stay on that slide if you want. That's fine.
You want me to go to the second slide?
Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. That is
Okay.
fine.
Awesome. Thank you all for joining us. I know it's end of the day on a Wednesday, so we got some good content to keep you excited, fill you in on the careers here that we have at Angi. So quick intro before I pass you over to Stevie, but I am Audra Metzler. So I oversee the campus sales recruiting program at Angi. I've been in the role since 2020 when I joined the company. And it's been a remote position for us, but I'm actually in our Denver office right now for an offsite. And Stevie, she's going to be the next one. We had travel, but it's definitely nice because we have the remote work, but we do still have our offices, so we can kind of touch on that as well. But that's where I'm at right now. So excited to learn a little bit more about you guys and share more about the data here at Angi. So I'll pass it over to Stevie.
Yeah, my name is Stevie Andrade. Not in Denver right now for the offsite. I'm stuffed in my office closet, so not nearly as cool, but I'm a campus recruiting team lead. So similar to Audra, kind of oversee our campus partnerships and really help attract, early talent to Angi and help them build their sales career here. So if you want to scan those QR codes, actually, we can pop this slide up at the end as well again, but that'll take you to connect with us on LinkedIn if you want to do that. So we could take like 12 seconds and keep that slide up. Feel free to scan that and connect with us.
Yeah, we like to post where we'll be on campuses and just upcoming, if we're doing like virtual events as well, that you can register for. We always like to share those on LinkedIn. So yeah, definitely connect.
For sure. Awesome. Well, we can move on to the next slide, Hannah. And so really familiarity with Angi across the board. You probably know us as a lot of different things. We're Angi. We were Angie's List. We were Home Advisor. We have gone through a ton of rebranding. So we are now Angi. That is the name we're sticking with. Promise. Angi is it's a platform that connects millions of homeowners with trusted home service professionals. So think anything from painters to plumbers to HVAC professionals, landscapers, roofers, anything that's in that home services realm. We're working with, and they're utilizing Angi to really, as you see at the top, get jobs done well. We help homeowners find those pros for their home projects and their needs. And so really the way our sales business model works is, we're looking to generate qualified leads and provide advertising solutions for these local service businesses. By connecting homeowners with the right pros, we are able to actually power those local economies, help small businesses grow, and really enable homeowners to succeed with their home projects. And again, our motto is get jobs done well. So that's what we're really aimed to do here. If you want to pop to that next slide, Hannah, we can move there. Beautiful. Data really across the board is super essential for our businesses in general, but obviously a lot of the roles that we work with require a lot of data. In marketing specifically, the data is used for, analysis, campaign performance that we're sending out to our contractors and homeowners, and really optimizing those customer acquisition costs and really kind of getting a feel for what's working and what's not, and how do we continue that marketing without, overspending and not making money back, right? So kind of similar to sales, that data is really going to power our pipeline management. How are we getting these leads? What is that conversion rate looking like? How are we sourcing these leads and where are they coming from? And then, of course, the performance metrics of the leads that we're getting and how the sales reps are closing those as well. From an operations perspective, definitely informs capacity planning, SLA monitoring, that service level agreement, process efficiency, and then of course resource allocation as well. Kind of trying to figure out, hey, where are we putting people? Do we need to allocate, more on one side of the business than the other? Angi has done a lot of switch ups over the last, couple of years and really have used data to help us make those decisions and really understand where we need to put our people and how we need to transition people across the company. And then obviously in the finance piece, data is super crucial, right? It's critical for forecasting those models, ROI calculations. So what is our real return on investment for the things that we're doing as a business? And then of course, trend analysis. So again, how are the things that we're doing as a business helping us reach that goal that we have to, increase our revenue and really increase the amount of money that contractors are generating from the business as well. And then really helps us provide valuable insights that can drive decision making, and really just increase and improve the performance across the entire sales organization as a whole. We use data a ton for our sales team. They have been troopers with the amount of data that we're throwing at them for how many calls they need to make in order to do a conversion, and then maybe how many closes do they need to have. So the data has really been very crucial for the sales side specifically. Can pop to that next one. And this is just going to show you really inside sales, kind of like our data loop, right? So how are we coming full circle as we're doing these outbound calls and as we are trying to close these contractors. So you'll see at the top left there, the lead quality inputs. That's going to include like contact rates, the cleanliness of our sales reps CRM. So how well are they maintaining that pipeline and how well are they keeping that pipeline clean? Source scores. So this data is, again, really going to help us assess the quality of our leads and the leads that we're providing for the sales reps to close down. If you shift to the right there, you'll see sales activity. That's going to cover cadence. So how often are they reaching out to the contractors? Call scripts. Are they working? Are they not working? What can be tweaked? And then, of course, follow-up touches. How many of those do they need in order to have somebody call them back? So again, these are all actions that we take with each prospect that we're talking to. And again, really kind of trying to dive into that data to make sure what we're doing as sales reps is working. You'll see on the bottom left there, we've got performance metrics. That's tracking conversion rates and contact opportunity ratios. So again, how many calls are required in order to get a conversion or get a close and start making that commission. Really quantifies the results of our sales efforts. And then you'll see the coaching insights. Those come from A/B testing on call scripts and really provide targeted feedback to the team based on that A/B testing. So really giving the sales team an opportunity to see what's working and what's not, and shifting our priorities as a company based on that, or shifting our priorities as a sales team, I should say. So they kind of all act in a continuous loop, and each one kind of plays a really important role for the next one, and really helping us understand how our sales team operates.
Thank you, Stevie.
Yeah. I was gonna say I could kick it over. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll kick it over to you.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. Love to see the different. It is crazy when you think about the data, how many areas it touches in a business. And I think I can walk you through on this next slide here, just more of kind of a week in the life of a sales rep. And just thinking of all the things that a sales representative does. We're speaking from sales specifically, but as we just showed, it does touch every division in our organization. But for the team that Stevie and I support mainly, it really starts with that outreach, the data. So understanding how to utilize our our Salesforce is what we use as our CRM. And so that's a huge part of training, is really understanding how to organize the leads that you're receiving, these businesses that you're reaching out to. The data that we have, it allows the business or allows the sales representative to just make, kind of like Stevie said, more strategic decisions. So on the back end, it'll tell you the best times to call, the best call length, best talking points. So it definitely, we have the benefit of AI, I think, in tools like Salesforce now, to where that data can be taken to that next level and just really help make your job easier, but also help you provide even better, more specific solutions to the businesses you'd be working with. That being said, from a data perspective, outside of just the outreach and the planning in the pipeline, it is going to be in the calls as well. Like Stevie said, when we're looking at how we set these call metrics and these goals, we kind of work backwards and we look at the numbers. We look at what works, what hasn't. So being able to really document those interactions and being able to see, okay, the best converting sales tend to come from these sources. These are all things that we wouldn't be able to know from just a feeling or a gut check. It's really helpful to kind of have the idea of like data beats opinion is actually one of our values here. So we're always making our decisions based on that. That being said, objection handling and coaching, being able to overcome that. I think with the data, if you see when you're in a one-on-one with your manager overviewing your sales calls, they might pull a report and show you that in the past month, in the plumbing industry business, they didn't answer because you called them from 9 to noon, 9 a.m. to 12, and we actually discovered that they're most likely to answer from the hours of 5 to 7. So really just being able to kind of use that data to your advantage. And then, overall performance review as well, being able to track how close you are to goal, really just helps you make your decisions and your choices each day to get you where you need to be as a sales representative, whether that be to your quota in terms of like contract value sold or, number of sales, conversion rate. All of that is definitely something we can't leave to chance or a gut check. So love the data for that. And we can move on to the next one, Hannah. And this one is definitely exciting. So this covers really a new feature that we have. It's a new tool on the Angi platform. So what our platform does essentially is, like Stevie was mentioned, we connect the homeowners with the contractors. And so with the use of AI, the lovely invention that's doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon, we really just implemented the ability to have natural language processing come into play here. So the homeowner is able to come in, really put in a pretty basic description of maybe their sink is broken or they need a woodworker to come rebuild their deck. It could be anything. They're able to really use that natural language processing to translate what might be a vague request into something that's super clear and specific. And so this really allows us to match our business owners with homeowners that are in their location. We're also able to match homeowners with business owners that are in their price range, they're in the specialization that they're looking for, just a lot quicker and a lot more detailed than we would be without this tool. So always kind of taking us to the next level there, which we love. But feel free if you want to move on to the next slide there. And beautiful. So this one I love because I think, as we all have kind of seen, I think in the news and everything, just with the growth of AI, there is that concern rate of like, what does this mean for me as an employee? What does this mean for my work? And really, when it comes down to data, being able to rely on it and being able to use the data and the AI as a tool, and almost in conjunction, really amplifies the output and really the overall reach that you could get if you were otherwise trying to rely on just your own thoughts. But really just being able to have those faster feedback loops, being able to see what's working in real time, adjust, iterate. You don't want to get to the end of a project that you've been working on for a whole quarter and then realize that if you were to kind of check a piece of data or something in the reporting in that second week, you wouldn't have to go all the way back to the drawing board. So making sure that, you're checking those targets in real time as well. And then it does just build credibility, and it allows you to tell more specific stories, just having that data on your in your back pocket, that is. I'm gonna move on to the next slide there. Perfect. So with the sales division, that's really what Stevie and I support specifically, like I mentioned. But as an inside sales representative, you definitely want to be efficient in managing that large daily call volume. So you want to really have a good sense of how Salesforce works. That is something that we do train on, like I mentioned, but really being able to master that is going to be big. We don't have an auto dialer, so strategizing your day-to-day is going to be important. Which type of business am I going to call? Am I going to call, the smaller businesses in the morning or in the afternoon? You can definitely kind of strategize through that sales funnel within Salesforce. But outside of that, yeah, definitely being able to have that persuasion, backing any of your talking points up with data to kind of dive into those pain points that any providers might be sharing with you. It really just gives you the ability to like articulate that ROI in a much clearer way and get them excited. You do want to have that CRM knowledge, like I mentioned, just being able to like log your interactions. That's another piece where data comes in. Being able to have a follow-up call with someone is going to be a lot easier if you have, a couple notes or touch points on quantifiable things about their business from your last call, or even qualitative descriptions about, what you guys chatted about. So those notes are really important. The CRM comes into play there. And then, yeah, really, we have a lot of helpful dashboards that kind of compile all of that data, and they're able to give you trends, predictions, kind of strategy guidance so that you have a little bit more indication of what direction to go. But definitely, if you are going to come into a tech sales role at Angi, or I would say really inside sales at any position nowadays, you definitely want to have the ability to understand what a CRM is, whether it be Salesforce, or a proprietary version, whatever that they might be using. That's going to be a big asset in your tool belt, I would say, in any sales role for sure. And then we can go on to the last slide here to share how we can stay connected, and then open it up if there's any questions as well. But yeah, we are hiring. So Stevie and I, we hire for the sales team, but we are hiring across divisions. I will say the inside sales team is actively accepting and reviewing applicants for upcoming training classes. So we do have rolling start dates. We can answer any questions that you have there, but we also have office hours. So if you do have any that come up between now and then, you can let us know. And that'll be in that link there, which I believe Hannah was able to share in the chat there. Thank you. And yeah, like Stevie said, follow us on LinkedIn. We'll be able to keep you in our kind of talent pipeline so that if we do have any other events, or if you just want to connect, ask us questions about your resume, we're always happy to help and be a resource for you. But I definitely think even being here and taking the initiative to attend an event like this is, a huge step in the right direction. So kudos to you all in attendance, because you're taking a step towards your career, and we're happy to help and be here for you. So on that note, I will open it up to see any questions for Stevie or myself. We did such a good job explaining it. That's great. And if you do have any that come up in the meantime, we can put, Stevie, maybe we will put our emails in here as well.
Yeah, of course.
Just in the chat. You can reach us there as well. Perfect.
Let me see if I can go back to your LinkedIn slide again too for everyone. I did have a question that had come in ahead of time, and was just looking for some tips on how to be successful with remote work. So I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, the sales role is remote. So if you had any guidance or tips on that.
For sure. Great question, first of all. And Stevie, feel free to pop in here, but
Sure.
I would say biggest thing that I will touch on is just the proactiveness is very important, I think, in a remote role. I think in an office, you can kind of see who takes the lead in in a meeting room or something. It can kind of be easier to maybe be a fly on the wall, um, starting out in a new role. And I think an advantage of being remote is that you do get more FaceTime opportunities with like leadership through these Zoom meetings, to where if you aren't being proactive and raising your hand, virtually, or setting up a quick coffee chat with someone on leadership, that really does go a long way, because you don't have the same ability to like be walking to grab a cup of coffee in the office and have small talk with, your director. But you can still do that virtually, and they love that, and they encourage it. So I would say just being able to have that presence virtually is something that we definitely encourage here at Angi, and we're always in constant communication, I would say, through Slack, Google Chat. So just taking advantage of that.
Yeah, I would say coupled with that, instead of shooting a Slack over, do a quick call, right? Quick Zoom call, quick Slack call, something like that to ensure you're getting that FaceTime. But on top of that, it seems crazy to say it out loud, but like just having a dedicated space where you want to do your day and treating your day as if you were going into an office. Try to set yourself up with a good morning routine, a good work routine. I'm a big calendar blocker. I need to block my calendar so I know exactly where things are going and when they're happening. Similar to when I did work in an office, I was a calendar blocked everything. So keeping a lot of those in-office tips and tricks alive with working remotely, I think is really important as well, because it is so easy to get into the habit of like, I'm going to work in my pajamas today, or like, I'm not going to brush my teeth till noon because I know I'm going to have 7 cups of coffee before then. Like, making sure that you're really taking the onus on yourself to to make yourself feel as prepared as possible for the day is, again, seems elementary, but makes a huge difference in the way that you operate remotely.
Absolutely. Fake it till you make it, even if,
Yep.
you put on a blazer, it makes a difference.
Yep, absolutely.
And I saw, Paul, great question in the chat within more of kind of the data specific roles. I do know that on the data side, we have a machine learning team, and we have more of like senior data scientist roles open at the moment. With that, I will say, once we have those senior roles built out, then they tend to build those teams and have more of the like associate level, more or like consultant level roles or specialist roles. But all that to say, model development and like data strategy is a big piece there. So with like specific tools, you would want, they are looking for proficiency in SQL and Python. Um, with that, any sort of like cloud ML solutions, um, and really being able to deploy like machine learning models is a big part of that role. So any comfort level within kind of that data science or machine learning space within the tech industry is great, but coming in with that SQL and Python knowledge is, I would say, the best kind of the two areas that I would focus on. Yeah.
For sure.
Good questions.
I think AWS is a big one that they use too on that side. So that's another one that I think that one's kind of standard across the board. So would definitely recommend looking at that one and getting proficient in that one too, because I've seen a lot of companies that utilize that for sure.
Good call. Yeah, that's huge. I think that is, I mean, with the platform that we have so much data, because I think that's the core like foundation of how our platform works, is with that homeowner data and the contractor data. And so, yeah, that would be a big part of the data science team here, is um, really just designing experiments and just really measuring the impact of those models to continue like understanding what's working and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
Good question. I see Debbie there with an accounting background, but you want to pivot into business systems. I would say the biggest, uh, I would say building those specific skills when it comes to the tools that you can kind of learn, whether it be SQL, Python, AWS, um, There are a lot of like certificate programs I know and online courses that you can take even through like LinkedIn. And so any sort of, I would say, additional certification, or even if it's not like a formal program, any sort of like online course or video, being able to add that to, your ongoing projects on your resume, that's always something that stands out. And you can also add that to your LinkedIn. Uh, I would say the specific tools though and languages would be the most valuable, specifically from like that SQL and Python perspective.
Yeah, I would also recommend if you're actively employed with a company that has a business analyst of some kind, tap on their shoulder and just see if you can, see how they got their foot in the door, or some basic things that they started off with to get in there. Shadow them for a day, or over your lunch, take an hour and see what they're doing, and pick their brain a little bit. So try to make those connections either within a company, or even on LinkedIn with people that are in similar industries that you're trying to target. I feel like in this day and age, people are absolutely more than willing to network with you, and and really have their brain picked about how they got into things. People love to talk about themselves. So if it can benefit you in any way by listening to somebody talk about how they got their start, I think that's huge.
Absolutely. And I think you can leverage as well, like, just being able to, sometimes they'll do like, opportunities where they'll do, like panels, virtual, kind of workshops that you can find. I know LinkedIn will host those if you go to like the events tab on LinkedIn. Um, so definitely, I would say those resources. And even if you search in, this is something I did recently when I was looking for events, ChatGPT could even tell you upcoming virtual workshops that you can register for. If you are looking to gain specific skills, it'll, say in the next upcoming month, are there any open for registration workshops or webinars that I can attend to learn more about this tool? But that's definitely an easy way, or a great new way that I discovered to find more events and more opportunities to increase that knowledge. And yeah, absolutely. The career services through SNHU, being able to, I'm sure, connect with that division or that department, like Stevie said, having those conversations or coffee chats. It can always be nerve-wracking to ask for it, but 9 times out of 10, the person is going to be excited to share anything that you're curious about in terms of their day-to-day or their expertise. Absolutely. Any other questions?
I think we have some new folks here, so would you mind running through the presentation? Let's see. We have about 25 minutes left. So I don't know if you'd be open to running through the presentation again, and also leaving it, if you're comfortable, leaving it open to folks, like just jumping in with questions at any point if
Please.
they have questions. Okay.
Perfect.
All right,
Absolutely.
great. Let's
We
do
can
it, just
even
because I think we have a new group.
Yeah, that's fine. I was gonna say we can even start it off with questions. If people have like more specific questions before we get into it, I'm open to anything.
Ditto.
Otherwise, we can dive right in.
Hi.
Perfect.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Sabrina, recent graduate, SNHU, Business Administration, over 20 years experience in information technology, and only switched after about, I switched from business administration with a concentration in management information system after about 85% way through the degree. Because of my background, I wanted to focus more on the business side of it. And the reason why I'm in this particular group here, along with perhaps some others, is because we had some technical difficulties. We were in the main chat, and they just randomly put us into other rooms and then switched us over to another room, and here I am. And so I just want to kind of put that out there. Thank you guys in advance.
Well, thanks for involuntarily joining us. We appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Amazing. We can move over to the next slide if you'd like, Hannah. Do quick introductions. I know we did them before, but since I'm already talking, I'll introduce myself. Stevie Andrade, campus recruiting team lead here, so really focused on helping recent graduates and college students find the right fit for them, right? I focus specifically with our sales team, so really trying to make those connections and help early talents, dive into their next sales career here at Angi. Audra, I'll kick it to you.
Yes, I am Audra. I work alongside Stevie on the sales campus recruiting team as well. I'm the program manager for the inside sales campus recruiting program. So what we do, yeah, we partner with schools. We're able to really meet with students at events, virtually and in person. And so we're really coordinating and establishing those partnerships and implementing candidate engagement strategies, really just being able to share our careers with folks like you all to be able to bring you on board. So I'm excited to share more.
Absolutely. So we can get started with the next slide. Perfect. So for those of you that don't know, Angi is it's essentially an online digital marketing platform for small business contractors. So we connect millions of homeowners with these trusted home services professionals across the country. So when you think home services, I'm talking painters, plumbers, HVAC professionals, roofing, really anything that falls under home services, we have a contractor on the product for. And then we're helping those homeowners find the right pros for their home projects and those needs. The business model is really, again, to generate those qualified leads and provide advertising solutions for those local business services. So really by connecting homeowners with the right pros, we're doing a lot of stuff. We're able to power local economies, really help those small businesses grow, all while enabling homeowners to succeed with their home projects and make sure that they, as you can see on the top, get their jobs done well. So we can go to the next slide. And this is all about where data shows up in business roles, obviously specifically with Angi, but this kind of goes across the board, I would say. Data has become increasingly more beneficial in business roles from, marketing, operations, finance, obviously customer success as well. So really in the marketing sector, data is going to be used for attribution analysis, understanding campaign performance. So how is your campaign, reaching your market? Is it doing a good job? Are you getting clicks, things of that nature? And really optimizing that customer acquisition cost as well, making sure that you're spending money where money needs to be spent to then engage your customers and have them start spending money with you. In sales, data powers, pipeline management, making sure that conversion tracking is happening, lead scoring, and then of course performance metrics as well. So really understanding and peeling back the onion of, okay, how is our sales team operating? Are they operating efficiently? Are the leads that we're providing them closing, right? And really making sure that we're putting them on a path to success to help us close business, help us make money, and of course help make them a ton of money and commission in the process. From an operations perspective, data is really informing that capacity planning, service level agreement monitoring, process efficiency, and resource allocation. So making sure we have the right people in the right place at the right time to scale the business the way that it needs to be scaled and that we're hoping that it scales. In finance, obviously data is huge for forecasting models. If you don't have a good forecast, you're going to have some explaining to do, right? So forecasting those models, budget variance analysis, return on investment calculations, and then of course trend analysis as well. So, are we, again, spending money in the right places? Are we making money in the right places? And where do we need to shift? And then of course in customer success, data is used to track those NPS scores or net promoter scores, retention analytics. So are we keeping customers on board? Satisfaction surveys, and then churn prediction as well. So we can kind of get a good idea of, based on these habits and based on this information, are we going to see this customer churn, or are they going to renew with us and start spending more money? Can go to that next slide. So it's more specific to Angi and kind of our data loop at Angi, right? And how the circular workflow helps with the inside sales process and really, engages that sales process. So as you can see here on the top left, we've got lead quality inputs. That's going to include contact rates to our contractors. So how often are we reaching out to these contractors? Our CRM performance and cleanliness. So how good is the CRM operating? Are you keeping it clean? How often do we need to keep it clean? Things of that nature. And then source scores. So this data really helps us assess the quality of our leads that we're giving to sales reps and ensuring that we're keeping up with that quality. See on the top right-hand side, sales activities, that's going to cover your cadences. How often are you reaching out to contractors? Call scripts, are they working? Are they not working? What can be fine-tuned? Follow-up touches, and then, things that kind of go into that follow-up touch. These are going to be actions that we take with each prospect to make sure that, again, they're getting, a quality experience from a sales rep and really ensuring that we're providing with the business that they need. Bottom left here, performance track, conversion rates and contact to opportunity ratios. This is really going to quantify the results of the sales efforts. If the sales reps aren't, making things happen, we need to shift something. We need to change something up. So this is going to help us, by looking at this data, really understand how our performance metrics are tracking. And then coaching insights from A/B testing, like call scripts, and providing targeted feedback to the team. Are the scripts working? Are they not working? What can be tweaked and what can maybe make a close happen quicker, or what can make a close happen, to be more effective or a higher revenue close. So again, really peeling back the curtain to make sure that we are understanding all of these pieces in this continuous loop to drive smarter decisions at every stage of the sales process. Goal is really to use the data to transform how we approach each prospect interaction, and of course, drive improved outcomes from that. So, Audra, I will kick it to you so you can take over from here.
Beautiful. Thank you, Stevie. So putting a little bit of more detail, as we can see what this looks like into practice in terms of how inside sales reps specifically really integrate data into their day-to-day. Because I think when we think of data in a career, we might just think, oh, well, the data analysts handle that, or, the business operations team handles that, and that's it. But it really is something where even in a sales role, data is a really pivotal prime piece of your day-to-day. So step one, looking at strategic pipeline and outreach. Our inside sales representatives, they segment thousands of leads in our CRM. We use Salesforce as our CRM. And so they're able to go in, prioritize them, set outreach goals that are rooted in that data. Really from there, that comes the outreach. So outbound calls is really the main way that we do our outreach. That's the best way that we found to connect with these contractors. And it is something where it's not random. Every call is, it's tracked, documented, strategy is behind it. And so being able to analyze that for patterns to see, okay, this type of business typically answers between these times. These types of businesses typically will be more apt to have a conversation about signing up for a new product, in the evening hours rather than, or, from like 4 to 6, either way. It's a full-time role, so we're not going to ask you to call businesses at like midnight by any means, but our teams work Monday through Friday. It's 9 to 6. So all the calls happen within that, but you're still able to add a little bit more strategy there instead of just blindly dialing. From there, when we look at objection handling and coaching in sales, again, that isn't random. That is going to come from the data, where we really want to intensify the effort, be able to analyze the leads up close, update CRM insights, and really accelerate those conversions by looking at, again, what's working, what's not working. Final step is the performance review piece. So I think without data, it can be very subjective to know how you're doing. So especially in sales, having set metrics, set goals, set targets, it really takes away that gray area, and it's structured, it's intentional, and it's really data-driven at every stage so that you can, work to meet or exceed your goals and not just kind of hope for the best. You can feel really educated on where you're going and why. And thanks, Hannah. If you want to move to the next slide. Thank you. So this one to zooming out a little bit, this is a new tool that we've actually implemented using a lot of data, and it's going to continue to allow us to gather even more data to just keep improving. But we have the, it's called the Angi AI Helper. So this really is just transforming the ease of which homeowners and business owners are able to connect on the platform. Big picture, let's say you're a homeowner and your sink breaks, there's water going everywhere. You can really put in a couple sentences into the AI helper. Hey, this is where I'm at. This is how much I'm looking to spend. How quickly can someone get out to fix my sink that's exploded? And the natural language processing models are great because that is what really takes that vague request into something specific, and it actually puts it into a formal request in our system to where we're able to match you up with a qualified contractor in your area. On that end of things, the business owners are also getting better matches. So they're able to really build out their detailed, kind of like actionable project plans in this way and respond with confidence instead of wondering if this lead is even going to convert. It just allows for more specified on target matches there. And in terms of the pay and benefits as well, great question, Roshan. We can post the job description in the chat as well, which will break it down. But big picture, 70 to 75K is going to be the on target earnings for year one. And that's going to be with a base salary of, depending on where you're living, $36,000 to $38,000 on the base, plus the uncapped commission. The bulk of that compensation is going to come from that commission, but it's paid every 2 weeks. So you're going to see that come through based on the sales you've closed in the 2 weeks prior. And we do also offer full benefits. So that would be like medical, vision, dental, just over 3 weeks of PTO, and then 401k plan and stock options as well. So pretty nice benefit package there. Nice compensation structure, just because you have the peace of mind of a base salary and you're not relying 100% on just the commission. But yeah, great question, Roshan. And if you want to move on, Hannah, to that next slide. So kind of tying this all together, how data really can help you in your career. I think from the perspective of AI or without the perspective of AI, data really is going to help amplify your work and your results, and it's going to help direct you. You're able to have faster feedback loops. So instead of waiting for like an annual review, you can see in real time what's working, what's not. You don't have to have a pit in your stomach wondering like, man, is this one-on-one with my manager? I didn't hit my target. Did I hit my target? You're able to just have a lot more confident, informative, strategic conversations to move the needle on your behalf. And then, yeah, you'll know exactly what drives results with clear targets. So you can focus on taking those actions and activities day to day to get you there. And with data behind you, your recommendations carry more credibility and influence. So, you're able to actually really provide tangible value from, we have a whole Angi research team actually that their sole job is really to do industry research on all the different verticals that we support within the different types of contract businesses. And so within Salesforce, it's a really, really nice hub where anything you could ever need to know, it's probably in there. So definitely helps you just strengthen that storytelling in your sales. And if you want to move on to the next slide. So tying this together as well in terms of just skill building, really inside sales at Angi and beyond, the data is going to be a piece that is going to happen in the day-to-day. So being comfortable with it and being confident in your ability to discuss how you've worked with data in past roles and how you can leverage it in this role is going to be huge. In terms of the day-to-day for the sales role, you would be managing about, this recently changed, it's closer to 130 calls a day. But it's going to be either that or 3 hours of active talk time is the typical daily activity that we see gets folks to their sales targets. And so with that, you would want to kind of keep that pipeline moving forward. That's going to be also prioritizing and moving those prospects through. Salesforce is going to help you do that. So really understanding how to articulate that ROI, overcoming the objections that a business owner might have with data and not guesswork or just a gut feeling. And then really with that CRM piece, again, just kind of mastering that that analytics piece, whether it be like qualitative notes on the conversation that you had with the client, or you're actually putting in the notes like quantitative data on their average revenue, their budget, their hard line in the sand. Um, all of these pieces of information are really just tools to use for your success. And so leveraging that just allows you to self-coach in real time, and also have better discussions with your leadership and with your management too, to allow them to better coach you as well. And yes, we do offer training, Roshan. So whether you go into sales, marketing, consulting, operations, we do have a fully paid training for each of our roles. I will say for the sales sides in particular, it's a 4-week paid training. And so like the first week is more of like a classroom style setting where we use Google Meet. And so it's very interactive, workshop style, kind of live structure, to where it's not just like sit and get, it's more so like practice by doing. So you do start to add in some of those live calls the second week just to get that live feedback. So that it could be, hey, on this next call, let's ask 2 more open-ended questions here instead of, closed-ended questions, things you can implement in real time. That's a big part of that training, but also the core foundational knowledge as well of like being that product expert, really being able to develop your sales skills to the point where you can operate super confidently and comfortably on your own. But it is still a supportive environment, just in the sense that even when training's done, you'll still have ongoing sessions with the training team, and then a weekly one-on-one as well with your direct manager. So internal growth is also a big topic of those conversations. And we have a leadership development program as well that carries you into sales management, sales training management. So definitely all backed by the data. So all goes hand in hand. And Robert, it is going to be all inside sales. So it is fully remote, no travel based. All of the outreach will be done over the phone, and we use Salesforce for our CRM, but you would have a phone number through that software. And we provide all of the equipment in advance. So makes it super easy. As long as you have a high-speed internet connection, you're good to go. On a dedicated kind of home office workspace, you're good to go. But it's team environment, so you're still learning amongst your peers and stuff, even though it's a remote role. I always tell people you're not just sitting at your desk alone all day. And so, yeah, definitely a lot of opportunities to engage face to face like this as well as you would in an office. But yeah, full-time remote. Great questions there, though. And yeah, I mean, really, last thing I'll touch on is just with the data skills here that we talked about, they are all transferable. So like I said, whether you go into sales, marketing, like Stevie talked on earlier, just really all the divisions within Angi, that's anywhere where you're going to see data in every single role, especially nowadays. It's definitely not going to go anywhere, but I definitely encourage all of you to continue to use data to just prioritize, influence, improve, your performance, and really just see it as something that you can just really become more confident with and comfortable with through practice and exposure. And yeah, if you want to move on to the last slide there, Hannah, we can have a takeaways here, ways we can stay connected, really with the sales team. Like I mentioned, we are hiring on a training class basis. So right now we have an upcoming November training class. We have a December training class. So I believe, I know you guys have rolling graduation dates as well. So it actually works great with our hiring structure. And so even if you're graduating next year, maybe it's not so soon on the horizon, definitely still connect with Stevie and I. If you, I believe if we can pull that LinkedIn codes up as well, and we'll paste them in the chat, but essentially we'll keep you posted. So even if you're not ready to apply yet, we will send out emails, send out opportunities for you to connect with us at other events that we're hosting. We do similar like resume reviews. And then we are actually going to be doing another networking event with SNHU in November. So we'll send more information on that. But yeah, Stevie and I are always open books. So if you have any questions on our sales roles or any other roles, any recruitment related questions, we're always happy to assist. And good question, Robert. To answer that, we are selling to the business owners in particular. So it would be the contract businesses specifically that are doing the plumbing, electricity, um, landscaping, anything you can think of inside or outside of the home.
Great question. Yes, that's exactly right. They're going to pay to have those leads generated to them. So when a homeowner goes onto the product, the homeowner is saying like, hey, I need, a landscaper within the next 2 weeks to do XYZ job. And then they'll submit that like scope of work essentially. And then we on the back end will send that scope of work to contractors that fit the bucket of what they've said they need. So typically it's going to be anywhere from, 1 to 4 contractors within their area that fall within that scope of work. We'll send that lead to those contractors. And then they can reach out to the homeowner, or the homeowner can say, hey, I want to initiate that contact with the contractor. Here's their list of contractors that they get. So yes, in short, the contractor is paying to be part of that experience and having access to those leads.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Yeah.
And what we can do as well, because I know we have our LinkedIn and our emails here, I can send a quick email over, Hannah, to your team. Stevie and I can just send a quick email with our emails as well, the job link, and then a link to our talent community. So for folks that aren't yet ready to apply or start full-time yet, if they're graduating in a year or so, they can still connect with us and stay in our system, and we'll be able to time it out so that you get started in the process when it makes sense for your timeline.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate the engagement.
Yes. Yeah, you guys made it fun, made it exciting. Thank you. But I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday, you guys. And like I said, yeah, we're happy to help. We know job searching can be a crazy place out there. So if you have any questions, let us know. But great to meet you all.
Yeah, for sure.
And Salesforce is part of the training. That's a huge piece. I know, Stevie, don't they have like a whole like module on it?
Yeah, they have like an entire day and a half to teach you how to use the system and how to get leads through it, dial out from it, how to update your pipeline, track conversations that you're having. So they're going to give you a full day and a half and then some if you need it to talk through that CRM. So absolutely. We're not going to throw you to the wolves. Don't worry.
Absolutely. And I know I said the Chat GPT earlier as well. I don't know if it's the same group, but I always recommend for folks that are looking to kind of get into a new industry, feel free to, use that as kind of a cheat sheet and say, what are the top 3 skills for someone transitioning from this field into sales or into business information analytics roles, fill in the blanks, whatever type of role you're looking for. But, what are the top 3 virtual events you recommend I would sign up for this month, or webinars that I can learn more on the top skills. It'll actually take like real time events and data from the web, so it saves you a lot of time. But yeah, definitely good to be branching out. And I always think don't ever feel like you need to box yourself into one industry just because that's what you've had experience in, just because there's so many resources out there and recruiters are more open to it than I think it can feel when you are in the position of transitioning industries. Just know that, yeah, there's no harm in putting yourself out there, and more likely than not, you'll learn something through the process. So
Yeah.
but like I mentioned too, you guys are one step ahead of a lot of other people, I would say. Even looking back to when I was in college, I'm like, I wish I would have gone to more of these like employer skill building workshops, things like this. So I think it's great that us at HU, you guys offer this. It's
Absolutely.
definitely attend as many as you can.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much. This was wonderful.
Thank you.